Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den here at Randall Ford and Fort Smith. I'm Jocelyn Pomplin, joined this week by women's basketball player Abby Summitt. Abby, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, not the start you guys have wanted. You played 4 games already in a week. What's kind of been the thing that you guys are trying to really work on the most to get out of this little funk to start the year?
The first couple of games, our shooting percentage was not great from the 3-point line and also from the free throw line. So that's been something that we've worked on for a week, I guess. Also our communication, like defensively with 12 new people on the team, like it's definitely a transition. Verbiage and everything's new for all those 12 people. So we're just trying to get over the hump of having 12 new people. But I'm just trusting the process.
And now, how do you, as one of the few returners that we do have, kind of help all those newcomers along in the transition period?
It's really just being patient with, everybody learns at a different speed and takes to things differently. So I just try my best to, when I notice a mistake or, not even necessarily a mistake, just something they could have done better, like I'll say it in the nicest way possible to the best of my ability and hope that eventually it'll click for them. So.
Now, it's super early in the season, but who have you seen, since a lot of them are young, a lot of freshmen you brought in, who are some of the younger players, that have really stepped up that, people that are yet to make it out to a game are going to come out to a game? Who should they be keeping an eye on this season?
Haley Jackson, she's one of our freshmen. She's number 11, if, you come to a game. She's really taken on a big role as a freshman. She starts for us. She plays a lot of minutes. Jordan Gramlich, she's from Alma. So she's local, which would be fun. People wanted to come watch. She starts quite a bit of games for us, and she works hard. So those two are probably the freshmen that really have made the most impact so far.
And now, speaking of local, Jordan being from Alma, you being from Greenwood, what's it like to, having grown up, kind of watching the Lions and now playing for the Lions? Didn't watch them growing up?
Not really. No, my family's a Razorback family, so I did come to a few games, as I got older and was looking at colleges. Yeah. And it's always fun to go to a camp and meet some of the players and talk to them about their experience here. For me, I talked to a lot of people that were with the previous head coach. So when I did come in, I didn't really know what to expect. I hadn't talked to any of those people. So as a local kid, I just love being able to have my whole family there. And I'm sure Jordan would say the same thing. It's nice to know that after the game, I can talk to my family. A lot of girls on the team can't do that in person anyway. I can call them. But yeah, that's just really the biggest thing for me and why I chose to come here in the first place. So.
And now, last year you had 2 of your high school teammates on the team. What was that experience like, all playing together, at the collegiate level?
It was fun to watch Anna, especially. She was one of our main scorers in high school, and it was fun to watch that translate to the same thing in college. And she put up 20 points usually every game. So that was fun to watch. I didn't get to play redshirt, but I liked having them on the team again. It gave me a lot of nostalgia, especially, with how successful we were in high school. I was really excited to see if that translated over. And we had a pretty good season last year. So, yeah, I just really enjoyed having them around again. So, yeah.
And so you mentioned you redshirted all last season, you missed all last year. How does it feel to be, back on the court with your team?
When preseason and stuff had started, I definitely noticed I was a step slower than I was. And so it was kind of difficult to push past that and get back to where I was. But I feel great. That injury's not really bothering me very much right now. I definitely feel like I'm getting old. I hurt all the time now. But yeah, I really am glad.
It just takes time to get back into game shape.
Yeah, a little bit.
And now you've had, like I said, 4 games last week, 3 games this week, plus the holiday. What does that week look like for you guys? Like, do you get to take Thanksgiving off? Because I know you play Tuesday, Wednesday, but then you're right back at it at home Saturday.
Yeah. So obviously we leave today, play those 2 games, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday we have practice in the morning. But I do get to go home later that evening, so that's great. McAdams has made plans for people that don't get to go home, things for them to do on Thanksgiving, which is great. And then I come back and I practice on Friday for our game on Saturday. I mean, I can't complain much. This would be a different conversation with somebody that's not home.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm fine with it, but it's different for everybody.
Now, you went up to play, the team went up there last year to this, event. What kind of, I don't know how much you remember from those 2 games or how much scout you've done, for this week yet. What can we expect, against Truman and Drury?
I know Truman last year, Hannah hit a game winner to win that game. So we haven't done much scout yet. That's what today is for Truman, I guess. But I would assume that it's going to be a good game because it was last year. Drury, I don't know. I wasn't even at this tournament.
Drury's, there's perennially been one of the top programs in all Division 2.
Yeah.
And you get to play them twice this year.
Yeah, I saw that the other day and I was like, oh, okay. Hopefully we can get 2 wins or we can. No, I'm just going to stop there. We're going to get 2 wins.
3 we play. Oh,
that's no, 2 for them. Ahead. 2 for them.
Oh, 2 there. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking this week.
Yeah. This week, hopefully we get 2 there too. So.
What are some things you like to do outside of basketball?
Because I'm so close to home, I go home a lot. But I read a lot. I do Legos.
What?
Yeah. Got a bunch of Lego sets in my room. All of them are Harry Potter themed.
Is that the kind of books you read too?
Yeah. Kind of a nerd in that aspect, but yeah, that's what I do for fun. I build Legos, I read books.
All right, and last thing here, what are you going to school for?
I'm a biology major, and the plan is to go to dental school. So.
Kind of stick around this area?
Yeah. My mom actually works at a dentist office in Greenwood, and that's where I grew up. I mean, the bus dropped me there after school every day.
So you kind of got a first-hand look at it.
Yeah, so that's like the only thing I've ever been interested in, and it just works out that we're so close to the dentist there, and he's given me a lot of opportunities to come shadow and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's where I plan to work if he lets me.
All right. Well, Abby, thank you for joining us today. Remember, that's the women this week, Tuesday at Truman State at 1 o'clock, Wednesday at Drury at 5:45, and then Saturday back home here at the Stubblefield Center against Ouachita Baptist at 2 p.m. So make sure you come on out for that one. Abby, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back with men's basketball coach Zane Gibson. And welcome back to the Lions Den. I'm now joined by men's basketball coach Zane Gibson. Zane, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Justin.
You're so welcome. 2-0 last week against Division III opponents here, but one of them, the toy toss, we raised nearly 1,000 toys to give back to the community in a great event.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. We'll do that game for as long as I'm here. And continuing to try to make an impact on young people. It's kind of always been our mission as a program. That's why we have the summer camps. That's why we go to the elementary schools to do various community service deals. And it's just another way of doing that. Maybe our biggest way, truly when Christmas is sometimes a very emotional time, good and bad, depending on a young person's circumstances. If we can bring some more joy to the kids in the River Valley, then that game is absolutely worth it.
And now, what can you learn, from your team against the opponents that you played last week? Obviously, you're much more talented. You got a lot of guys playing time, but what were some of the takeaways that you got from your team?
Yeah, so all good programs hold their own standards. They don't worry about the teams they're playing and their standards. And that was a challenge. It's a challenge for anybody when you're playing somebody that you don't think is quite on the same level as you, talent wise and skill wise and things like that. But can you still play to a standard? Can you still do the right things all the time? You kind of touched on it for a second there. I mean, it was important to get a lot of guys a lot of different minutes. At our level, at the Division I level, Kentucky and Duke, those guys, they'll play some teams like we played last week early in their year, and then they'll rev up, and so they get their guys a lot of chances to play, get their feet wet, et cetera, and then start revving up. We didn't get a chance to do that, so some of our guys that maybe were just on the fringe of being in the rotation or not, getting their feet wet last week was incredibly important for the future. But then, like I said, also trying to figure out what guys can always play that standard all the time were probably the two biggest things we took away from last week. Were, like I said, getting people some playing time that hadn't, and seeing what guys could hold our standards.
I say didn't play the first weekend get thrown right into the fire, but then these games, Zane Gibson led the team in scoring the past those two games last week.
Yeah, he's a really talented freshman. He's a really, really, really talented freshman. He's still learning a lot of how we do things and what he has to do to get on the floor in more close games, meaningful games. And yeah, he put his talent on display last week. He can go fill it up in a hurry if you don't find somebody to guard him. And I think we've got a lot of guys like that. So yes, he got his feet wet. I think that will make him more ready if his opportunity comes Wednesday this week, along with some other guys getting their feet in there. And again, there's nothing that you can do to simulate a game rep, no matter who it's versus, because there's people in the crowd, the lights are on, guys are wearing uniforms, they're not in practice gear, like all
Playing
of that.
Someone other than yourself.
That's right. All of that matters, and you just can't simulate those in practice. And so it was a good week for him last week. Hopefully, he continues to grow into this week and into the future.
And my parents were at the game, and my dad made the comment afterwards. He said that Aiden was one of the smoothest players he's seen, and he's just a freshman too.
Yeah, no, he's really skilled. He's actually one of the easiest guys on the team to coach. He plays tremendously hard every day. He is an everyday guy. But yeah, he's got a lot of potential. We really like that class. We're excited about all our guys, but yeah, that class has got a chance to be really good here in the future.
And now, kind of touching on the depth again, and you said got to play up to our standards. The starters didn't play up to their standards the first couple minutes on Thursday. You inserted a brand new 5, and there's no drop off. Yeah,
that's probably the hardest thing if I was scouting us, is just figuring out who do you formulate your scout to. We have always, you try to figure out who's the head of the snake on the other team, and how do we minimize or make it hard on that person. And I think that would be hard to do that on our roster, just because we've got a lot of guys. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why I brought it up is I thought our whole team played very well on Tuesday night. But on Thursday, I think our guys, not being the toy toss, Thanksgiving break is coming up, kind of let that seep into their heads a little bit, and they didn't get off to a great start. But the 5 guys I stuck in right after that, they did. They did a phenomenal job of getting us going, and from there we just kind of kickstarted ourselves. And then when the starters came back in the second half, they played the first 6 or 7 minutes, and they didn't give a basket, because I think the light bulb had been flipped on for them at that point about what we're trying to do. But yeah, I think it would make it incredibly hard to scout us, because, and I say this with a chuckle too, I don't know who's going to play great each night. And so we just kind of put them out there, and whoever's got it going, we roll with, and whoever's not, we kind of try another guy. And so it's hard to just say this one guy or these 2 guys are going to be the focal point, because truly, I don't know, and I coach the team. So I think that would make it very hard on opponents to scout us.
And I mean, looking at box scores, you got 3-4 different guys scoring double figures every night. And then looking at the stats that I got, he highlighted, obviously last week's 2 games play a factor, but 13 guys averaging double-digit minutes so far.
Yeah, and I would say that's probably
Going to change
unsustainable.
Going forward. Right.
Yeah. But I still think we're going to be 10 or 11 in that number. I don't know if we can consistently stay at 13. That's probably, again, that's too deep.
Especially when you're getting into games, okay, this guy's got a hot hand.
Yes.
You're going to ride the 5 that are really.
Yeah, that are playing well. That's kind of what we did versus Harding. There was a group in the second half that kind of came in, and this is all the way back to the first game of the year, and they started stretching the lead out. And I remember our staff saying, "Hey, coach, those guys have all been out there 6+ minutes, which is a long time consecutively in a basketball game. You might go 6 minutes, come out 2, go back in another 4, throughout a half, whatever." And I just kind of turned to my staff and said, "Hey, but they've got it going right now, so we're just going to ride this thing out. We're going to ride it out." And we did for probably another 3 or 4 minutes. So I think that group ended up playing about 10 minutes in a row. And you're right. If you do that in a regular game, that means 5 other guys aren't playing in those 10 minutes. And so that will distort minutes inside of a game. And so that's why, as you said, I just think it's not realistic to keep having 13. But I could easily see us having 10, 11, and 10 plus, and then maybe those other 2 guys are still hovering, 5 to 7 range throughout the season.
Now, looking ahead, we got Henderson State, the lone game this week, on the road Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Looking at their stats, they got 4 guys averaging double figures. Leading scorer averages 17. I think you were just starting to get into watching film on them this morning when we came up here. What kind of is the game plan going into Wednesday?
Yeah, Jimmy does a great job down there at Henderson. They're always really physical. They play really hard. They guard you. They just kind of make a lot of games really, just uncomfortable, I guess is the easiest way to say it. And that is nothing but a compliment to them. And they're a good basketball team. So he's got some guys that are real long and athletic on the wings. He's got some really big kids that can punish you on the glass. His guards are really quick, so they're hard to stay in front of. He's got a really good team. I think they will play more up-tempo than anybody we've seen so far.
They're also giving up 80 a game, so 90-80.
And that happens, though. Sometimes when you play with such speed, the possessions get higher, and so then the other team scores more. That's not, in my opinion, indicative upon their defense. I just think that's because they play a higher level possession game. I think this will be one of the better defensive teams we have played so far. So I think those 2 things are what we got to prepare for, is the speed in which they're going to play versus us and the physicality on the defensive end. And it'll be a really tough test. It's hard to win anywhere on the road, much less at a good team's home court.
Plus, it is a different conference, but there's a little bit of that in-state.
Yeah, we've only played, and I didn't even realize this until yesterday. We only played Arkansas schools at this moment. So, we love playing the in-state schools. I think it's great. Rivalries should matter in college athletics. I know some of the guys at the highest levels don't respect their rivalries, and that's why there's so much realignment. But I think it would be great for us to play the Ouachitas, the Hardings, the Hendersons, the Techs, the Monticellos yearly. I think that would be a great thing for us.
And then last thing, it's a holiday break kind of this weekend for a lot of people, but you have conference play starting next week. How do you manage the holiday while at the same time playing Wednesday and then say, hey, now the real season starts Tuesday?
It's a delicate balance. That's probably the easiest way to say it, because you don't want to be Scrooge. You want these kids to still have a Thanksgiving. And so we do that. Like, we've already got a Thanksgiving meal planned out for all our guys that aren't close enough to go home, because we'll take off Thursday after that game, Wednesday, just to have them off on Thanksgiving. And I also try not to schedule a lot after Thanksgiving. Before is different, but I try to stay away from it because, again, you just want them to feel like they're getting a little bit of a break, that they're getting some holiday spirit. Those things are important in the grind of a season. But you're right. Then we got to turn around and go to NSU and to Newman. And those games count. It's just like the ones in the middle of January versus Emporia and Nebraska Kearney. They all count the same. And so, honestly, last year, I don't think we did a great job. Well, we didn't do a good job of getting off to a good start in the league play, and it cost us at the end. Even though we were playing good basketball at the end of the year, it cost us. So we've got to really, really regain our focus when we come back to practice and get ready for those two opponents. Because at the end of the season in late February, early March, that might be the difference in us making the MIAA tournament or even making an NCAA tournament, depending on how our season shakes out. So it's definitely a balance. We want to make sure that they enjoy their Thanksgiving, but then we got to kind of get right back to work.
All right. Well, good luck on Wednesday, Coach, against Henderson. Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Lions Den, and we'll see you next time.